Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from my normal repair videos. I just thought I'd share this because it's quite important. This is going to be covering the extractor sets. So you get this type of an extractor set or this type of an extractor set. I believe in other markets around the world it's called an easy out. So in short summary, if you don't want to watch the whole video, is avoid these tools if you can and only use them in certain scenarios, which will be described later on in the video. What I do recommend instead of those tools is cobalt drill bits or hardened steel drill bits or some real good quality drill bits. For example, I've got these set of Milwaukee drill bits over here. These are cobalt drill bits and they come with a full set. Will help you out a lot more than that extractor set that I just showed you previously. Or best of all is these left-hand drill bits. They are expensive, especially the cobalt left-hand drill bits over there, but I do recommend them over the extractor set any day. So in short summary, use left-hand drill bits or cobalt drill bits and drill out your problem. So if you have a strip screw or a damaged stud or something similar, preferably always drill them out and try and avoid the extractor set. So that's basically a short summary. Keep watching if you want to see the full video, and also stay tuned because in the next week or so I'll be covering the full brake caliper repair where the bleed screw actually got stripped on the top of the brake caliper. So the whole process on what we actually did. Today will just be a short summary, so you just keep watching and just stay tuned for that. In the previous video, you would have seen that we had problems with this caliper and that the bleeder screw basically tripped off at the top here. This one in particular was over tightened, so that's one possibility as to why it's stripped. We went through the process. In the American market, it's referred to as an easy out. I'll show you what that is. So these are the two extractor sets that I decided to use for the video. Initially, I wasn't going to use any extractors. I was going to drill it out as I said previously, but I thought it might be a good opportunity to trial out these tools, and if anyone could benefit from a similar scenario, if these tools work. So if I open this one up here, the instructions say that you basically use one of these. For example, use one of these. You drill the hole a little bit bigger, and then you tap this in, and then you turn it to open it. There's a couple of problems with this. We knew that there would be problems. First and foremost, if you look at the size of the thread here, it's an M10. So if you go back to these extractor sets, what's going to fit in an M10? Generally speaking, you're going to be at about the 3 or 4 mm. So right there, you've got less metal in there. So you can go ahead and you can try to use one of these. It's fine if you really have to. But generally, what I'll recommend is when you put this in there, make sure you do not exceed more than 1.5 turns. So if you put this in there and you're turning it, if it goes about half a turn, watch the screw or the bolt or whatever you're trying to remove. Just watch it and and have a look. If it's not moved at all, not even a slight bit, you can go a little bit more, but if it's still not moving, I would say stop and just wind it back. A simple 20-minute job, where in the previous video you saw it broke off. We already had, because this is a bleed screw, we already had a nice center hole going right through. By using this in there and turning it, and then it just snapped off. This is basically hardened steel. So when this snapped off in there, it went from being a 20-minute job to exceeding nearly half a day's worth of work just to try and get that out. So just bear that in mind that, like I said, you can use it, but preferably the best scenario to use this is if you have a stripped screw. So if I use this as an example, it's got a Phillips head over here. Just imagine that this head is worn. In that sort of a scenario, I'd say by all means go ahead, drill it and use that. You've got nothing to lose, because chances are it's just a head that's actually rusted, and normally the threads are okay normally, so you would get away with it, and that's where this tool might actually work, and it might actually extract the screw. But anything where you notice initially when opening something and it's very tight, that's where I like to point out a bit of caution, and I'll say stay away from things like this, or just follow the method that I showed you. Half a turn to 1 turn, and if it's not coming off, back off straight away, because I would not recommend going through that process. So what we did to remove all this, so the initial process was we used a set of cobalt drill bits. So we got a set of cobalt drill bits over here, and the excellent bits, they work very well. However, the problem was that tip over there was basically just running on the metal that snapped off in there from the extractor or from the easy out. So again, if I use the extractor as an example, this tip over here, these drill bits, they work excellent, but the problem is, because this is hardened steel, So the drill bit tip was literally just riding at the top, wouldn't actually dig in into the hardened steel. So this was of no avail. So this really didn't work because it was just literally just spinning there and it wasn't biting in. We could have got away with that by using a special center bit, a center drill bit. I'll put a picture up now so you'll see that. So you could try that and see if that starts the initial hole. If you get that initial hole started, then these drill bits will work, and they work amazingly. What we did instead was use a dremel with the carbide cutting tip, and I'll put up a video now of what exactly and how we did it. So this tip, basically, it doesn't matter hardened steel or whatever steel you're using, stainless steel or anything that's snapped in there, these tips work amazingly if you get the good quality carbide tips. This cut in there and it literally just started cutting away that hardened steel. What would have normally taken hours worth of drilling until you get that started, this carbide tip did it in a couple of minutes. So we just went in there and just started notching away, and that notched away enough to allow the cobalt drill bit then to work, and it just drilled it straight through. So if you're ever stuck in a similar scenario, I recommend use this carbide tip, and you can basically notch out the problem, so the easy out if it's broken in there. That's probably the best solution. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope this was of some help to you. See ya.